please welcome Imani Rupert-Gordon.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Pride. My name's Imani Rupert-Gordon. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and I'm the executive director for the National Center for Lesbian Rights. Before I get started, I want to tell you that I am so incredibly honored to be here. We have waited a long time to celebrate together in person. Beautiful weather, beautiful people. This has been fabulous. And I think it's important right now that we take some time to share gratitude. This is one of the things that's bringing me comfort because this hasn't been a great week for justice. When I agreed to speak on this stage, I thought we would be talking about something else. I would have said something like, if we aren't diligent, democracy as we know it will be slipping through our fingers. And unfortunately, that is already out of date. It has slipped through our fingers and it's continued to. The Supreme Court overturning Roe makes us all vulnerable. If COVID has taught us anything, it is that we are all connected to each other. We're reminded that my health is tied to yours like yours is to mine, and the same is true for our liberation. My liberation is inexplicably tied to yours like yours is to mine. And if any of us don't have full bodily autonomy, then no one is protected. Right now, in this moment, abortion is legal in at least 13 states, and that looks like it'll be close to half of this country in no time at all. We're confronted with a new reality, and that will be a blow to freedom and to privacy. This cannot be quantified, and it cannot be overstated. And if that weren't enough, Justice Thomas' concurring opinion directly expressed that we should reevaluate the basis for privacy, for contraceptive, and for marriage equality. It's been over 50 years that our opponents have taken a coordinated effort to take away our rights and to keep us from having new ones. They've done this by stealing Supreme Court seats, they've done it by gerrymandering, and they've made it difficult for us to vote, and they've done it all in plain open sight. Right now, we are unable to pass even the legislation that you would think would be nonpartisan, bills that make voting fair and accessible, passing the Equality Act or Every Child Deserves a Family that will provide LGBTQ people the same basic rights that everyone deserves. And this is when across this country, 8 out of 10 people support LGBTQ equality. We can't even pass sensible gun legislation that keeps our children safe. And just now, a law was overturned in New York, and it was 111 years old, that makes it perfectly legal to conceal and carry in New York. The Supreme Court has determined that the federal government has no authority to regulate greenhouse gas emissions from power plants. At this point, I don't even think our opponents are creating a world that they can live in. We live in a time in this country when it's easier to get a gun than it is to get baby formula. And in this legislative session, we have seen more anti-LGBTQ bills than we ever have. More than 350 anti-LGBTQ bills, with a vast majority of them targeting transgender kids. Our opponents are going after our children now. Our leaders taught us that the moral arc of the universe bends toward justice. And it's times like this that's only true because we make it true. This is not a promise, it is our call to arms. We need to fight to make this true. And our opponents, they think that we aren't brave enough to push back. Do you realize that when the Supreme Court announced this ruling on Friday, these announcements don't come out on Friday. They did this especially the day before our Pride celebrations. They don't think that we are brave enough to come out. NCLR has been around for 45 years, and we are fighting those anti-LGBTQ bills in places like Arizona and Utah and Alabama and Tennessee and all over this country. We're reminding LGBTQ kids and families that they matter. And these governors that are passing these inherently unconstitutional bills, that they're wrong. And to everyone out there who's questioning who they are because of these discriminatory bills, remember, they are the villains in the story, not you. NCLR challenged Florida's discriminatory Don't Say Gay or Trans bill because we see their effort, the effort in this country to intentionally shame LGBTQ people and our families. There's a concerted effort to keep us out of schools, and we know what this means. Keeping LGBTQ kids out of school encourages young people to be ashamed of who they are and who their family are. It alienates kids, and it's a disservice to all of us. Banning books that center the experiences of people of color, people that have immigrated to this country, not teaching a full history of slavery in this country, that does not benefit us. We are an intersectional movement, and all of these things belong together. And when you think of it like this, laws being passed by these governors that are limiting the medically necessary health care that trans kids need, it makes it easy to understand why it's so hard to pass legislation that simply affords LGBTQ people the rights that we all deserve. LGBTQ people of color in so many communities with intersecting multiple underrepresented identities are being ignored and minimized in schools. We have to recognize that these things are connected. But you should know our opponents are loud, but they're not right. Because before intersectionality was taught in universities, there were just those of us who lived it. The road ahead is scary, and we're gonna take some losses. But the thing is, we've been here before, and so we know how to win. We will create the space that we don't see in the world. And let's remember, the majority people, they think like us, they don't think like them. 80% of the people in this country believe that abortion should be discussed with a person and their doctor. 80% of the people in this country support LGBTQ equality. And nearly that same number support marriage equality. So don't get it twisted, y'all. This is us. This is what they're saying. This is not what we're saying, and this isn't what everyone is saying. So today we're celebrating, but let's remember what we're celebrating. Let's get out there and finish what we started. Our opponents think we won't do it. Let's show everyone what we're capable of. Thank you, everyone, and happy Pride.